And then finally, I want to talk about Touhou, Artificial Dream in Arcadia. So, I heard about this game a while ago. When did this come out? 2023. Oh, okay. That's actually a little older than I thought. This came out in 23, and it is... this was basically pitched to me as Shin Megami Tensei, but Touhou. And yeah, that's basically what it is. It is a send-up to the classic Shin Megami Tensei style kind of blobbers, I guess. I think I would describe them as such. Although they're largely focused on dungeon crawling. Dungeon crawling RPGs, like DRPGs is what they're called. It uses the core SMT systems for party management and recruiting and stuff, except all the characters are little Touhoos. Now, I like Touhou. I like the Touhou series quite a bit. I was actually playing a little bit of Touhou 12 earlier today. I forgot how many Touhou games I've actually played. I mentioned that I've beaten 2, but I have actually played quite a few more, just never beaten them. I find them fun to just like pop in and check out, see what the stages are, see what the cast is. You know, some of them have a really cool character. Some of them got Touhou 12, Undefined Fantastic Object, is what it's really called. Is a I don't know how much I like it. It's got a kind of annoying central gimmick, but man, it's got a real strong cast. That's where that Nazrin comes from, the funny mouse. That's where Kogasa, the girl with the cool like living umbrella with like the mouth and the big tongue and all that, comes from. There's some cool ones in there. Nue, who's got a very memorable design. I don't even know how to describe her. Yeah, that one's cool. Anyway, I want to say, first off, that this is a game that you can play with zero knowledge of Touhou. I think that a lot of people get intimidated by the sheer scope of the Touhou, like, cast, and they think that there's got to be all this super deep, involved lore because of all this stuff that they see. Well, obviously, no. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no deep lore. Most deep lore is just fan fiction. You're like, okay, Marisa Kirisame. She's in every single game as a playable character. Almost basically every single game. And you might think, oh, well, she's got to have all this, like, character arc and development. All this stuff's got to happen to... No, Marisa is a witch who lives in the forest. That is her entire character. It begins and ends there. She sort of has personality traits. Reimu is a shrine maiden for the Hakure Shrine. She tries to raise money for the shrine. That's her character. Sanai is a shrine maiden for the Moria Shrine. She's a little bit newer to the shrine maidening business. And then the plot of every game is just something's happening around Gensokyo. An incident is occurring. Investigate the incident and put a stop to it. And it's just something like Touhou 6, one of the most popular ones, and it's the first real bullet hell of the series. I don't think most people realize the first 5 Touhou games are all Breakout clones on the PC-98, and I don't think they're considered canon to anything afterwards. Touhou 6 was the first bullet hell one. That's where like some of the most popular characters come from. Ramelia, Flander, Sakuya, Mei Ling, Cerno is from there, Chen. Just all these characters. The plot of that game is there's a mist over the Gensokyo. Who's causing this? And they go to the castle. You just fight through 6 tough as nails stages, and you get to Ramelia, and it's like, oh, she's a vampire, so she wanted there to be darkness so that she could go out during the daytime. That's the big plot. Every Touhou game is like this. For the most part, Touhou, see, what's great about Touhou is that everything about it is really simple and straightforward. The gameplay is straightforward, good old bullet hell action. The music is really cool and interesting because Zun is a self-taught composer. The plots are very straightforward and simple. The setting is fun. Gensokyo is this, it's essentially like a Japanese fairy tale land where Japanese myth comes to life with other stuff sometimes. Touhou literally means Eastern. Or Oriental. It's a fun setting where you can just plop a bunch of stuff into. And the character design, there is perhaps no greater example of the difference between being an artist and being a character designer. Zun, by his own admission, is not a great not a great artist. He's definitely improved over the years, but if you look at like fucking, oh my god, Touhou 6 Sakuya is so goddamn funny to me. Her little face. Not the greatest artist, but a bang up character designer. Almost 95% of the Touhou cast is unmistakable from anyone else, and everyone is really cool and appealing. You can guarantee that almost every Touhou character is somebody's favorite just based off of design alone. They just click with them. And what's more impressive is that almost all of them basically could be described as cute girl in a big dress with a hat. That describes most Touhou characters. But just by changing out the parts, it actually makes sense because Zun based his character designs. They're actually less inspired by like anime and more by like dolls, like old vintage dolls with, just it's the same base, but you can put different dresses and accessories on them and stuff like that. And that's the he just generates this gigantic cast of frumpy little ladies. I've always found very endearing. So you really don't need to know very much. And the plot of Artificial Dream in Arcadia is essentially just, there's an incident, investigate. And the rest of the game's plot is a series of essentially episodes that are excuses to get you to go around to different places in Gensokyo and see different characters and meet them. Basically, the main character is named Sumireko. She is like a girl from the human world who visits Gensokyo in her dreams. She manifests there as her in her dreams. What's super weird is that there are these two other characters, specifically one who is named Renko, and her friend Maribel. Sumireko and Renko, and their deal is that they're the what do they do? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I don't know too much about them because they aren't in any of the games. They are the main characters of a series of albums that Zun put out. And Maribel dreams about being in Gensokyo and visits there in her dreams, and Renko learns about it through her. And they're part of like a club that investigates, what are they called? The Hifu Club? It's like like an occultic club that they're part of in their college, I think. So you're like, that's very similar to Sumireko. And they even look really similar. They have like the same hat and stuff. There is no confirmed relationship between them. I don't know. It's just there. It's there for you to postulate about. Anyway, Sumireko visits Gensokyo in her dreams and stumbles upon an incident, and she is the only one who's investigating. What is this incident that's going on? A big tower has suddenly appeared in Gensokyo. It's called the Tower of Dreams, I think. And with it have come these strange, lifeless clones of a bunch of the Touhou characters. And Sumireko is able to hijack these to add them to her party, because this is an SMT game. So you basically just got to find out... she's able to take her smartphone into Gensokyo and basically the further levels of the Tower of Dreams get unlocked as she takes selfies at different locations around Gensokyo. Basically, as she makes memories. So I haven't finished the game. I am 35 hours in. I think I can speak about it with some certainty. I imagine that there's going to be some kind of a building upon dreams and making memories, and the fact that she's dreaming this whole she's going here in her dreams. And yeah, it's basically just an excuse to do some cool SMT combats with Touhou characters. So here's basically what SMT combat boils down to. And it's specifically the older school style. It's not the one more or the press turn, whatever the fuck is the one version that they specifically the one that actually the press turn is different from the one more. It's different. So you don't get like bonus actions during turns like you do in some of the later SMT games or some of the later Persona games where you can just wail on enemies if you have their weakness. Instead, the way that it works is you form a party of sleepers by hijacking them. And the hijacking thing is a cool minigame where you play a little bullet hell segment and you have to delete their life bar. With patterns that are based off of the character's actual attacks in the games, which is cool. I literally recognize them from playing the games. And then you get the option of either recruiting them to your party, turning them into items, or turning them into money. So you can build up. This isn't like Pokemon where you're limited to 6 different Pokemon. The idea is basically that you are fighting. Sumireko is fighting alongside the sleepers, her allies that you recruit, and you can have a party of up to like a lot. I think I'm up to like 20 right now. I've purchased upgrades up to 20, and but you can only take 3 sleepers into battle with you. And much like SMT, it's not a game where you really grind that much. You can do a little bit of grinding if you want. But for the most part, if you come to a roadblock, you will usually be at a level where it is real. If you're just going through the game, you will naturally level yourself to the point where you are probably able to take on the content. The problem is more that it's the composition of your team. Because there's a whole system of elemental and damage type weaknesses in this game. Like with SMT or Persona, that's another point of comparison. Same kind of deal. 4 different elements. Actually, no, there's like 6 different. Hang on, there's ice, fire, ice, lightning, force, and what is it called? Mind. Yeah, mind attacks. And then there are there's 2 types of physical. There's like bashing and piercing, I think. So there's like, yeah, so there's 6. I'm getting ahead of myself. My mind's moving too fast. There's 6 different damage types. No, that's 6. No, that's 7. What the fuck am I? Okay. Oh my god, I'm so bad at dude, I can't even count on my fingers. I'm so bad at math. Oh, good lord. There's 7 different damage types that I remember. I don't think I'm forgetting one. And you target them to hit weak points to deal more damage. There is an entire system of... So you don't really level up your sleepers. You can, and obviously them leveling up will increase their stats. But it's not the main way that you are increasing the overall strength of your party. It's actually through fusing them together to make new sleepers. It's, again, like I would describe the SMT system as the anti-Pokemon. It's not about sticking with one guy and leveling up and growing your bond, because Pokemon is about animal companionship and friendship and working together. And Shin Megami Tensei is about how the world is a brutal place and it's kill or be killed, fucker. There's demons walking around on the earth. And this is Touhou, bitch. This is hardcore. Look at all these cute, friendly girls. So, not quite as thematically resonant as its usage in SMT. But it is I do like the system. can be a little bit, some of the criticisms of the SMT Demon Fusion system are that it can be a little bit overwhelming, because you're like, there's 1 trillion different combinations of sleepers that you could get to make the thing that you want to make, and what do I need? So there's a couple features, some of which are lifted from existing SMT games, some of which are, I think, unique to this one, although I'm not entirely sure. So you can just like select a sleeper in your party, and then it will show you what it will make, what the combination will make with every other one. You'll see what level they have. You will see what abilities they'll have and all their stats. You can see exactly what you'll get. There is also a party fusion list, which will show you every single possible sleeper that you can currently make with your party. Even ones that are out of your level range, because you cannot make sleepers that are a higher level than Sumireko is. Until you get an upgrade. So mainly, you are fusing together your sleepers to make stronger ones that are at higher levels and have stronger skills and better stats. And that's the way that you are increasing your party's strength. And if you're coming to a roadblock, you kind of just have to, oftentimes the problem is you have to just reshuffle your party. Oh, there's also a really nice, I think skill inheritance and skill transference is really good in this game. This is something that's always been kind of complained about as being very obtuse and difficult to understand. In the SMT games, a lot of them have this very convoluted system for so when you fuse a demon, it has like its base set of skills, but then it will also inherit certain skills from the materials made to create it. And which ones it gets is like seemingly, it's very difficult to parse. I think there is a system behind it, but it's kind of confusing and it's not that intuitive. In this game, a newly fused sleeper has a base moveset that they will always start with. And then you get to pick and choose skills from the materials that you're using to fuse it into it to fill out the rest of its move list. I think you can have maybe up to, I forget what it is, 10 skills total. And so let's say like 4 of them are set in stone. It will always have them. But you can then go down this big list of what the materials had. And also, it's not just the skills from, like, let's call them the parents. It's every single skill that those parents have, like, their materials had. You get the skills from the entire family tree. So I'm not just getting skills, the option to include skills from, like, this one sleeper, but also the sleepers that were used to fuse into that one, to fuse that one. So you get tons of options. And then also, you would just have the ability to take a skill from one sleeper and just give it to another one. It will destroy the original sleeper, but if you don't need it, that's fine. Also, once you fuse a sleeper, it will end up in the database, and you can just fuse it at any time. You can just make it at any time when you're at a terminal, which is like a designated thing. A terminal is like a designated room. All sorts of places like dungeons and different areas will have terminals for you to access. So that smooths over a lot of the experience, and it means that you can get much more quickly to the real meat and the cool stuff of this system, which is party composition and optimization. That's the really fun stuff, in my opinion. Like, that's where the game becomes challenging. Going through a fight, being like, okay, that boss kicked my ass, but that was a learning experience. I'm going to come back and I'm going to refine my strategy. What's so cool about this system, again, is because the level to which you are just outnumbering them, like outstatting them, outleveling them, is very minimal. You have to be able to think strategically. You can't just brute force numbers your way through. You have to have some kind of a game plan that's based off of the party composition. these are going to be my spellcasters that are going to hit the weak points. This is going to be one of my buffers. This is going to be like the healer, and then like the off buffer. Like that's probably the most common like core team composition. But you're always switching out who's doing what, and figuring out what you'll need. And some of them have really specific. Some of the boss fights have really specific patterns and behaviors, and you're like, fuck, I need a counter specifically to that. Are there any skills that can help me with that? Like, that buff that they cast on themselves just sucks. It just sucks to deal with. Let me get a sleeper with a skill that removes all enemy buffs. A lot of the characters have this, a cool aspect of the game is that a lot of the characters have unique, like, kind of, I guess I'd call it a signature move. It'll always be in the Japanese quote, Japanese brackets. Oddly, they're all very flavorful, but oddly, like, a lot of them are musical references, which is interesting because there's not a lot of musical references in Touhou. There was one that was like Pretty Hate Machine was one of the, I think that was, oh god, what's that her name? I think that's Junko's one. What's another? I was recognizing a couple ones. Also, Remelia's his blood-sucking universe, which I appreciated. I guess vampire to vampire communication. I when I was getting together the materials for my leverless controller, I really wanted to get custom art, and I was kind of looking around for some cool artwork that I would want, and I found this neat piece of Touhou Guilty Gear crossover art with Slayer and Remelia that I really liked, but I think the resolution wasn't good for the size that it would have to get blown up to. So I eventually what I have is it's artwork of Sakuya and Alice, who are my two favorite Touhou characters. I just think that they're really cool. Also, Sakuya is like a Dio reference. The Dio reference is split halfway between her and Remelia. Remelia gets to be the vampire who says, "How many breads have you eaten in your life?" And Sakuya gets to stop time and throw knives. But is not a vampire. She's just a really good maid. Yeah, the game just has a really good... First of all, I really enjoy the SMT system. And I like that a lot of this is a very dungeon-based game. Honestly, like it's all tile-based maps that takes place in first person where you're progressing through a tile-based dungeon. For the most part, you are playing the map more than you're playing the screen of the visuals. You are filling out all the different squares on this. If you love filling out squares like it's a Metroid game, you're gonna like this. You get a bonus every time you fill out an entire area. Different parts have different gimmicks. Some of the gimmicks I don't like. Some of them are annoying. Like the poison. There are multiple essentially poison swamps. Don't love those. Sometimes the game can go a little too long without giving you a save point. That's a little annoying. But for the most part, it's going through dungeons, filling them out, conquering them, and seeing all the cool new characters that you get to hijack and add to your roster. You get there's some other nice quality of life features. The save points are called anomalies, and it's pretty cool. It's basically, you save by waking up from your dream, and then you go back to the game by falling asleep again. And I'm pretty sure that the time of day that you see on screen reflects the time of day of that's actually like based on your system clock, which is pretty cool. When you wake up, so you go back, you wake up to save, and then you go back to sleep to return to the game. And then at a certain point, when the game kind of really starts opening up, you get the ability to just teleport between save points, which is great. It's very useful. Yeah, so I'm only 30 hours in. It's just kind of a fun game to chunk through. It's been a pretty good, it's given me a nice level of challenge so far. I really like the ways in which it stresses and tests my ability to think about my party and what skills I'm using and how I'm strategizing. I also like that gearing is very simple, as is often in these games, because you only gear for the one main character. You don't have to worry about anyone else. Yeah, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I think that as far as this genre goes, it's probably a pretty good entry point just for how I imagine a lot of the aspects that you might find in an older title have been smoothed over. So if it sounds kind of cool to you, this whole system and all that, I would absolutely recommend it. It's a really good game. It's got great visuals, actually, for one. I haven't even mentioned the visuals. The one thing that I'll mention is that the menuing can be a little bit cumbersome. I kind of wish that you could do more. Like, the menus were less split up. So, like, changing out your party members and, like, who's in your active party is one menu. You use the skills of your party in a different menu from the skills menu. For like if you want to heal, if you want to use healing spells, which you're going to be using more than healing items. That's one menu. That's another menu. And then checking the status of your party members is a third menu. And the status screen, I just wish everything could kind of be done from like a single thing. Like go to the party menu and I can swap them out as I please. And then I could just like hit a button to expand into the more detailed status view, where you can also see like a detailed breakdown of the character's skills and what they mean and like all of their stats and stuff like that, and get like a little lore rundown, which is nice. If you press right on the status screen, you get a brief summary about what the character's deal is, which is actually great if you're not familiar with Touhou. Yeah, I wish that you could just like go to there, have like the party management menu, and then just like press a button, expand into the status menu, or press a different button to go into like quick skill use menu. That would be nice. But instead they're all split up. And the issue with it, another thing, I wish that there was a visual for the characters on the menus. Like I've said, the character designs in Touhou are great, and it's very difficult to get them mixed up. Some of them I get confused. But for the most part, they're all really striking and memorable, and you'd have a hard time getting them confused. But like, the menus just show you them in like just their names. All you see is their names, and I've got 20 different Touhou characters, and they've all got like 10-syllable Japanese names. And a lot of them I know, but there's also a lot that I can't keep track of. Who is that? What is it? Just really like mid-boss characters. A mid-boss character from Touhou 14. Okay, from one stage. Just really minor characters that I don't remember, and I have to be like, who is that? What did they do? What do they look like? Once I see, if I have the visual, I know exactly what they look like. Yeah, maybe that would be nice. Like, I'm just picturing how I would redo the UI a little bit. You have that whole like all-in-one party menu, and then just on like the right side of the screen or something like that, just a little box that shows you the character's portrait as you scroll through them. That would be nice. It might be a little much to have like a thing beside every single character, but just to like when you like mouse over them essentially, or move the cursor over them. That might be better. Now I'm doing like UI UX critique. But yeah, it's fairly minor. In general, I think it's a really cool game. I would definitely recommend it. It's only like, how much is it on Steam? It's $10. It's $10. I'm sure it goes on sale for even cheaper. Absolutely worth the money. Yeah, really enjoy this one. Really enjoyed this one. I've just been sinking a ton of time into it. I'm almost compulsively drawn to play it. So big thumbs up on Touhou Artificial Dream in Arcadia.